All the disrespect before you play back, button check. Button check.
What is up, Butt Check family? Welcome back to yet again a beautiful day of checking these buttons. As always, sub button right there, chapters down below. We got a hot one. We first covered this topic, I think, last week when it first broke. But now it gets even deeper because we got some big names, big content creators in the scene actually reacting to this, unpacking, getting super honest, man. So let's unpack all of this. First, though, we got a quick word from a quick sponsors. But trust me, y'all, if you're looking for a desk, gaming, or work, this is the most affordable, hands down, that I've ever seen. And check it out, it's also in my room. It's right there. I set it up. I talk about it in the ad. It's only a couple of minutes, so check it out. And it's super easy to put together because they map out all the parts. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's get that to check some buttons. Let's go. All right, Butt Check fam, give me a few seconds of your time because I got it. And when I say I got it, I mean I got it. This is the most affordable, featured packed. I'm talking about features on top of features. This right here is the 96-inch L-shaped reversible LED gaming workstation desk, and we have it, and it's on sale. And I don't mean a little sale. I mean a huge sale. It's going for about $150. That's not even including the current discounts that are being offered right now. Link down below, discount code, all that stuff. Check it out because it's only happening for a limited time. This right here is not only an L-shaped desk, it's a reversible L-shaped desk. On top of that, you could even do another option and make it straight. You could have an L-shaped desk or just a flat out straight desk. There's so many options that this thing will transform into. Look, it doesn't stop there. You also got free shipping, a year warranty, a 30-day money back guarantee, and it comes with the LED lights. I think this is the first one I've ever had, a workstation gaming desk that has ever come with a set of LED lights. You could adjust them not only with the remote that's attached, but also there is a free app that you could download on your phone, and I could easily just pick which color. It even has the outlets in the middle of the desk, so no more crawling on the floor. This comes with 4 AC outlets, 2 USB ports, and it's all right there in the corner, connected where the remote is for controlling the lights as well. And there's even more because this thing comes with storage at every angle. There's a bookshelf built underneath. It just comes with it. There's a bookshelf, you can put some books down there, some supplies if you're gaming, your consoles, your controllers. It also comes with a DIY pegboard, so you can hang like staplers, scissors if you're very artsy crafty. And on top of that, it also comes with a side storage bag. And as far as the keyboard tray, you might be wondering, it is 22 inches. Let me pull this bad boy out right here. So right now I'm just gonna set my stick on it, but I'll put some other shots of it as well. Not only do you have this option, so if I'm gaming, I can literally just be like right here with it. And to complement this, or this whole setup, it actually has a monitor heightener. You can see the different levels right here in the back. So if you're straining right here, like with your neck or you're too hunched down with your monitor right here, I could actually put it up on this next level. So now I don't have to like adjust my neck or anything. I don't have to even like raise it up and down, because you know, sometimes we were talking about the standing desk. This right here, different levels just built in. And in closing, to put some proof in the pudding, this actually stays with us. It does not go in the kids' room. It doesn't stay in the living room. It goes in my room because my wife has already claimed it. So I got to start moving stuff around and put it in that little studio that I have created. So either way, check it out. Link down below. Now let's get back to check some buttons. Let's go. All right, next up for them. So I guess I'm not going to EVO anymore. Buttons that need to be checked. We got Jiyuna. We got Animeilluminati himself, right? We got Sajam, and we got Brian F. 3 people, why did I do this? 3 people that are big names, and also that people confuse for each one of them. Everybody always says these guys look alike, or they confuse their names at least. Either way, y'all know who they are, and they're getting deep. They're getting super honest about the whole sale, Shady, EVO. Some of them actually said some statements that actually surprised me, because I was like, oh shit, is we getting really honest? So either way, like I said, chapters down below, so you can actually see their links as well to check out their full videos. Anyway, let's check out these highlights. Let's go.
A very big shift in the FGC, and I feel like we're kind of losing our way. Before we get into it, for the millionth time, I'm telling you, please support your locals and your regionals. Not please, you have to. You have to support your locals. You have to support your regionals. So I saw a tweet a couple weeks ago. It really pissed me off. I meant to make the video back then, but I've been busy. But with the news that just came out this week, there's no better time than right now. So what news am I talking about? You already know. We have been bought. Yes, after 30 years, man, 30 years, right? EVO, this event that started in the cafeteria, college cafeteria, over 3 decades, became the face of the fighting game community thanks to like the hard work, the volunteers, right? The staff, the TOs, the players, the people that traveled, everybody involved. We built this up over 3 decades, right? There's been a lot of ups and downs, but we built it up. Then out of nowhere, like Pokemon, right? Psh, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, Saudi government, whoop, tossed their Pokemon ball at us. We're owned. We're now owned. We're owned by a group that had nothing to do with it. With absolutely zero contribution to growing the event is now, that's our boss right there. So Saudi owns EVO. Of course, they own EWC, which just started about 3 years ago, right? Gamers 8, $1 billion production, fully owned by Saudi Arabian government. They're heavily invested in the Street Fighter League and the Tekken World Tour, just due to their connections with EWC. They announced that partnership, as well as they have, just stakes directly into the game companies right there, the publishers, developers, whatever. Basically, the entire FGC on the esports side is owned by the Saudi government. That's just the way it is right now. That's, as someone who's been around for a long time, that's such an insane thing to like come out of my mouth.
Exactly.
Like, I just went back in time and said that.
Exactly.
Like, all right, buddy. All right, man. Take your medicine. Let's go. But yes, we're owned. We're completely owned by the Saudi government. Now, for this video, I'm not here to tell you, we got to boycott it. We got to fight back. Like, don't go to these events. By all means, if your goal is to, you want to make $1 billion, you want to become a pro player, you want to win that prize money, that's the only way you can do it. It's the way it is right now. If your dream is to become fighting game pro, you got to go that way. So I'm not telling you to stop. I'm not telling you, fight back, fight against it. I'm just saying you can't just throw away what got us here in the first place, right? I said earlier, right, the locals, the regionals, but this is, this right here. This is the FGC to me, right? The basis of the FGC is just a group of people getting together wherever you are. Here we are outside in a park in Chinatown, but enjoying fighting games together, right? So I've been doing it for 30 whatever years. I've met countless people around the world. It's almost like a fraternity, right? But this community I'm a part of. With all this money flowing into the scene, we're seeing, or at least I'm noticing, a very clear shift where people don't care about that anymore, right? I've seen actually like negativity toward this stuff and like locals and like, oh man, thank God I don't have to go to this shitty tournament anymore. We got EWC now. We got Saudi money. Like this is it. That's all I'm going to support now. But you can't let the regionals, you can't let these locals die, man. It's that they're crucial to the scene.
So I think, Jiyuna, one of his main things was going into the whole, like, we can't let the locals die. He's been one of the more vocal content creators, or just names in the FGC that I've always seen talking about support your locals. I feel like when I got into the scene, Street Fighter 4, the locals that was it. Like, that was the place to go. It was popping. We loved it. Hell, I even did a local at my house for a quick second. I think it was during the time of Street Fighter 5, though. So that was short-lived. Right before Bogus Journeys, around that time when that was created. Anyway, what I'm saying is, his main point there was kind of frustrated, where he was like, this is an insane thing to come out my damn mouth. The FGC's tournament, biggest tournament we have, EVO, is owned by the Saudi government. Isn't that a crazy ass thought? He's like, yo, what is really happening right now to our scene? I feel like we've lost our way. But it gets even deeper now because we got Brian F also reacting to this. Let's go.
Of EVO itself. And Qiddiya, if you don't know, is part of Saudi Arabia's investment into their Project 2030 initiative to pivot their economy away from an oil-based only economy to diversifying their economic options, which includes things like tourism. And this is part of their ongoing effort going across industries all over the world and all sorts of entertainment sectors as well to buy out these different gaming events, sporting events. We've seen it with F1, we've seen it with golf, we've seen it with boxing, where they have basically unlimited funds right now to buy out all of these different industries in an effort to potentially diversify their economic investments and shift their economy away from being only oil-based, which will eventually, as a natural resource, be depleted, right? So there was a risk of this for their own GDP. So this has been the initiative they're going through. And part of this strategy is, of course, like people are mentioning in the chat, it's part of sports washing, right? Like Saudi Arabia, they've been under fire for a lot of human rights abuses. Culturally, it's not really matching with a lot of like Western sort of values. So it's a very politically charged thing, and I definitely encourage people on either side to do their own research on this. I don't really want to get heavy into the politics of what's going on here. Just know that this is not an investment in terms of a business. This is an investment in terms of a strategy to build their cultural influence, eventually maybe tourism more inviting to other people across the planet. It's not a buyout of a business that they expect to make a return on in cash. It's very controversial, and it has led to a lot of debates, a lot of mudslinging all over Twitter. It's getting pretty ugly out there, and it's pretty disappointing for a lot of people who feel impacted by this buyout, since basically this once grassroots event, which had already grown kind of far beyond that, especially with the part Sony ownership and the scale that it's gotten, is now fully owned by a branch of the Saudi government. Right? This is not a business. It's not a private company buying out EVO. This is a branch of the Saudi government. It would be almost equivalent if like the US military owned EVO, right? So I think there's a big divide in international audiences when they see a lot of like American reactions to this. From the American perspective, there's like a big difference between a private business owning an event and supporting that versus the actual governing body owning that. So this would be like if the US Army owned EVO. That's kind of an equivalent comparison, or at least like, you know, the US government, the federal government owning EVO. It's a different perspective from the Western audience than like Sony owning EVO or like another large corporation owning EVO, right? But the big thing here is, you know, this wasn't even, I don't even know if this was supposed to be known that this was a full ownership of RTS, which means they're the majority owner of EVO. But it was announced by this guy, Muhammad Aldawood, on LinkedIn. Here's the post here. Qiddiya has acquired full ownership of RTS, a strategic step that will further strengthen our esports business and unlock new opportunities. First place. And this is not the whole house of cards could collapse. We've seen this before too. The FGC, if Saudi ever stops writing the checks to keep this going, the whole house of cards could collapse.
All right,
We've seen this before too. The FGC has been in actually a really interesting position where they've avoided the major collapse of esports. Here's this article from 2019. Shady numbers and bad business inside the esports bubble. They predicted this back in 2019. It used to be touted for years that esports championships were getting more viewership, higher viewership numbers than the Super Bowl. And that was a lie. 4 years in the 2010 era, venture capitalists were pouring funds, millions and millions of dollars into these esports orgs in order to potentially make a return on investment. It was a gold rush at that time. There was a prediction that esports would become the biggest thing in the world. It would be bigger than football, bigger than the NBA, because it's international. It's a large growing audience, and there's no limit to the audience you can capture and potentially monetize on this. We saw esports orgs rise up. We saw your favorite FGC players were getting 6-figure plus salaries in the FGC to attend Capcom Pro Tour tournaments. They were getting 6 figures plus to fly around the world playing video games, where these teams would also pay for their travel on top of that. I was personally on CLG, right? I was on CLG. I had a salary with CLG, an org that won the LCS, right? They did the thing, the NA LCS, whatever it's called, right? They won championships, man. They did the thing in League. They're a legacy OG org. And then I was there for the call where the entire org got let go, disbanded, everyone fired, dozens of people losing their jobs instantly because Madison Square Garden cut off the money valve, and that was it.
It's crazy how, now Brian F's perspective, he kind of touches on some stuff as well, but he's focusing on the financial part about the bubble could collapse again because we've seen it before. And what happens when that happens? He does go on later on in the video saying he believes the FGC will still find a way to survive. So ultimately, we should be okay because we're hustlers. You know what I'm saying? If, like, I always talk, I remember Dirty Low laughed at me one time when we were talking about making money and getting money. And I said, bro, I've been broke like 98% of my life. I've been broke like 98% of my life. So I'll be okay. I'll figure it out if I ever, God forbid, go back there. You know what I'm saying? And he just busted out laughing. He was like, it's true. And I feel like the same way for the FGC. We come from the gutter, baby. So I think at the end of the day, we'll find a way. I would like to believe so. But anyway, he makes an interesting point about this esports, how it inflated. Everybody went in. There was this boom. People were getting 6-figure salaries. it still seems like the crazy thing is they still haven't figured out a way to make money from esports. Like there's little ways in certain genres, I guess with shooters and these bigger ones, right? Where I guess you have to buy slots to be a part of it. There's ways that they do it. But like for the ultimate scope of esports, the return hasn't really paid off, you know, as far as like the investment. So we see a lot of these people come in and dip, or a lot of people get a job for like that much and then it's over, you know? So at the end of the day, it's like esports, like that famous Mike Ross interview, what the fuck is esports at the end of the day? Or what are they trying to make it? Because it still seems like there's money in it. Obviously there's money in video games, there's spectating events and stuff like that. But what they're trying to make it looks like a bunch of smoke and mirrors still.
There was no business. There was no return on investment anywhere. At no point did any of this make money, right? The only people who have made money from the esports gold rush has been the publishers. For the publishers, it actually makes sense for them to invest in this sort of thing, because when people are chasing their dreams, trying to become the Capcom Cup champion, when teams are paying to fly players all over the planet, they are actually advertising their product. The publishers sell the game, they control the ecosystem. And in other larger esports like Overwatch League or League of Legends, they actually sell the franchising spots for millions of dollars that esports orgs have to pay fees to the publishers in order to even get into the actual competition. So the publishers have a monopoly on the whole esports business, and everyone else involved in it was chasing the golden goose that never laid the egg, right? So we saw this collapse. We saw many orgs disbanded over this time, and then COVID was the final blow to this bubble. And the FGC was in a unique position where, yeah, a lot of the orgs disbanded, but because most of our events were very grassroots and it was kind of a lightweight esports ecosystem, it was able to survive for a degree, right? And we've been able to sustain a pro tour, and players are still participating in that. And Capcom adapted to the times with the World Warrior program and lowered accessibility to make this more sustainable. I am worried EVO is going to inflate. We've already seen the scale increase. They're adding 4 EVOs a year, beyond just the saturation of the brand itself, diluting the legacy of the events. I am concerned that if Saudi, you know, this is the next gold rush, all the teams that exist now are relying entirely on Saudi money funding them for the Esports World Cup, the club championship. They're all chasing the next guy with the big checkbook. It was VC investors previously, now it's Saudi, and now EVO is getting wrapped up into this mess. At some point, they might close that checkbook, and it might all collapse.
All right, so Brian basically wraps up on the point of it might all collapse. I have concerns because EVO's getting wrapped up in all of this. But like I said, later in the video, he goes on to say that I believe that since we are who we are, we'll find a way to be okay if it pops. I would think, right? Because EVO went all this time with just doing it how we're used to. Now they're getting hella money. Hopefully the prize pools. Can you imagine if all this shit happens and the prize pools still don't go up? I mean, what are we really talking about? If all of this happens, which it is, and the prize pools still don't go up, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really doing? Where's the money really going? But anyway, that's just me prematurely getting pissed off. What I'm trying to say is, hopefully that means like everything's going up. Everything just gets, I don't know, somehow that much better. But if it pops, we'll just go back to doing business and it was fine. Hell, I know a lot of you probably prefer the way it was before all of this shit. So I don't know, but definitely interesting to see like, shit, what's gonna happen?
Initial reaction to waking up and reading it was like, I guess I'm not gonna go to EVO anymore. I don't know if that feeling will subside, but that was my initial reaction to the announcement. I was like, well,
Damn.
It was a good 11 years while it lasted. I didn't go to EWC as an example. I didn't like watch EWC or cover it on the stream or anything, but that didn't change anything about the tournament. Everybody still went. They made $1 billion, had an awesome time, and then they dipped. For the most part, EWC is an event that the majority of our community still participates in, right? The players and like the talent and like the staff. Most fighting game people still go. There's not a lot of people who don't go to EWC. So this, like, I don't know how much this will change the perspective. And also, I don't even know how much it's gonna change the day-to-day operations at EVO. It just probably changes the end game of like where they're promoting the sponsorships and like the pipeline pipeline of like what they're pushing, most people will probably still go to EVO, is my guess. I mean, like Sonic Fox is already like, I'm going. I don't like this. I don't fucking support this, but I'm going. I mean, it's EVO. It's a very prestigious event in most people's minds still for the community, even despite this purchase, because most people won't know. And also most people won't care. And the competition and stuff will be large. For staff and commentators, what are they just gonna not take the money? Right? It's probably one of their better paydays for the year. So even if they don't like it, most people will probably go because they're like, well, I need to make money and go and do this. So they're just gonna go.
All right, let's pause it right there. Let's pause it right there. So he says some real shit. He starts it off with saying, I initially woke up and read this like, I guess I'm not going to EVO no more. It's been a good, 11 years, but I'm done. He said, I don't know if this feeling will subside, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And he also gets real, saying that I don't think much is going to change because people are already fucking with the EWC and business as usual. So what are people going to do? Not go, not compete? Because this right here is a hefty probably part of their year as far as making this money. Just the competitors, not only the competitors, but the staff. For anything to really change, y'all, it would have to be so dramatic. Not just like a Sonic Fox protesting, but like everybody that works there saying, I'm not working your EVO, I'm not doing this, but that's never going to happen because like Sajam is saying, most of the people, when it comes to the names, the staff, the talent, all that, they went to EWC. They've been doing that. They don't see a problem with it. And it's been business as usual.
Gonna go. The country of Donald Trump is a shining beacon of morality. If your post is to the point that if the US government, like let's say the army had bought RTS instead, that you would not feel the same way. I got offered a massive bag by the US Army to run an event, like a massive amount of money. And I said no, for the same reason, if that's your point. They say that every time, like my response will change. Maybe your point is that you don't like the country in general, so like running events here sucks because you hate the US government or something about it or whatever. Like totally fair. I think like a lot of people feel that way about many places, not just the US. Like I'm with you, I'm a same team, right? Let's say a man from Saudi Arabia was like, I'm gonna run a tournament in Saudi Arabia, and just ran a tournament, I'd be like, hell yeah, that's sick. I hope it's dope. I don't have anything against the people who live there who are just vibing. You thought I was Canadian? What? Can't you tell I'm not Canadian by like the everything about me? I worked with the army one time for Street Fighter 5, like launch Street Fighter 5, and they were like, this is not about recruitment or like doing things to support the army. This is just like a fun event to do on the base. You guys will chat about it. It'll give the soldiers something fun, and then you could dip. I went and I was like, this shit is an event for recruitment for the army, and I never did one again. I was like, all right, I'm cool. Like, 10 hut, and I was like, I was out of there. And I just didn't do an event for them again, and they did a bunch more events after for like years. EVO already had sponsorship by Qiddiya, so you could even start there. I mean, you could think of it as like Street Fighter the game has a relationship with them because it's allowed at EWC, right? And like Capcom qualifies people. I've worked plenty of events with sponsors or things that I disagree with, like Qiddiya or the US Army, or like things like crypto, NFTs, things like that, right? Whataburger. If Whataburger was a sponsor for an event, some people work events for Red Bull and they don't even drink it.
Stop right there. Hold on. What the hell's wrong with Whataburger? If Whataburger was a sponsor for an event and then he shakes his head, what the hell's wrong with Whataburger? I got a Whataburger 5 minutes from my place. Now we crapping on Whataburger? I don't understand. Was there something that went on in the news with some Whataburger recently that I done miss? I'm in Texas, and it shit's still delicious to me. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is okay, now he's talking about sponsorships and how it goes back and how he learned his lesson with certain sponsorships. He even worked for the U.S. military one time, but he denied them the second time because he was like, y'all are using me to recruit. I'm not down with that. Now, on one hand, I understand because even myself, y'all know, I work with sponsors on top of sponsors. I've been blessed to have this opportunity and I want it to grow. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I learned the lesson the same way. I work with them once and I'm like, nah, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I decline your offer the next time. I got one right now sitting right there. I can't show you the product, but I literally told them thanks, but no thanks. This is garbage. You know what I'm saying? And no, I'm not pointing to the desk back there. I'm talking about to this console that they done sent me. It's new. And I'm like, nah, take it back. But they still, no, just promote it. I was like, no, it's garbage. So anyway, I'm sending that back. But anyway, I say long story longer, I've learned my lesson with certain sponsors the same way.
Like, you know, that kind of a thing. Like there can be events that you work that you don't like the sponsors or who's spending money on the event. Whatever the relationship with the event is and sponsors, that versus like the ownership of it and then the extent purposes of it, you know. That's not the same as the objective of this. The involvement of it is different, obviously. But yeah, it is funny because like, I don't know where these people come from. They just like appear and they're like, well, are you gonna go to EVO now, you fucking shill bitch? Like they just pop in like that and then that's what they type. The reason they type that is not because they care about Saudi Arabia or EVO or fighting games. It's because they want to care about my willingness to do or not do something. And they want to get you, so they can be like, aha. But then if I just say like, what if I don't go? Then like it's the end. Like their whole shtick is ruined. Then they're gonna try to scheme and be like, well, I've done the research, and this thing is connected to that thing is connected to this thing is connected to that thing, and you thought about doing this thing. But like the answer is like, why do you care only about me? You don't care at all about the people who are going, and you don't even consider how you look popping in and being like, well. It's
all right, let's stop right there. That's hilarious. He said people are gonna be like, so what now? Are you not gonna go, you shill bitch? It's like, why do you just care about me? And even if I don't go, people are gonna connect the dots somehow to still call me a shill. But as far as this point, what do y'all think about this? Because Sajam's like, yo, I'm in a weird position where I really can't win either way with this EVO buyout thing. People are gonna call me a sellout.
So weird. Where do you stand here? What is the backbone of your philosophy? Do you like fighting games and care about fighting games? Where's the foundation of your beliefs and like what is creating hatred for you? Like what do I have to do with it? The truth of it is like people like myself have already not supportive initiatives like this that involve other things previous to this, right? I mean, as of 3 years ago, like I didn't go to Gamers 8, I didn't go to the last two EWCs, I didn't cover them. Those things existed and they just like kept on keeping on. Like things like this, like decisions that go all the way up Sony and all the way up like large companies like this is like way above any fighting game community member's choice even. The community gets sold above the pay grade of people in the community, which is a wild thing to think about, but like that's sort of how these things go. And same thing now. Like I've commentated EVO finals for 11 straight years. If I don't go next year, nothing will change. And somehow I will be the one who's like the shill, so inoffensive, who never takes a stance on anything, who's so boring and yada yada. And I will be the one at home not making the money, not doing the job. Well, this is literally happening. They're gonna blame me somehow. I got flamed more for not doing EWC than any single person who went or the event itself. I know so many people who went and I know they just wanna make a bag. I know so many people who went who don't give a fuck at all, bag or otherwise. They're like, I don't care about Saudi Arabia buying everything. Dude, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Like I know both kinds of people. I know people who went who are like real sad that other people, even very briefly, were like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go because I personally, my beliefs mean that I don't feel like I should go. And they're just sad hearing someone else say that and they're like, don't talk about that, it makes me sad. It's like, bro, you're getting paid. You gotta Woody Harrelson the money in your face and get the money and just bounce. No one even cares. They're not flaming you, bro, they're flaming me. Everyone hating on that lame 2xKO Chipotle ad, we're doing it for a reason because this just feels like the logical endpoint of that route. It was me? How come I get more flack for a burrito than this?
Damn, that comment said that Chipotle ad started it all. You know, we hated it for a reason. It was cringy. Listen, the last few EVO, you know, where they do this presentation, we're gonna tell you the schedule. They have Maximilian, a lot of content creators, and they just like pan. It's this whole presentation, all right? Well, let's tell you what's coming to EVO. That is probably the cringiest shit I've ever seen in the FGC. You know what I'm saying? And even like including my cringy shit, that I'm like, can't even watch it. Like, why do they try to do these like comedy sketches and be like, and I get it. It's kind of fun idea in a way, but the way it's presented and the way it comes off, it's like, what the fuck are we doing now? Like, golly. And then you throw the Chipotle ad in there. They even try to make that funny. Like, bro, what are we doing? Now, at the end of the day, I don't knock anybody for getting the bag. I really don't. Hell, I don't knock anybody for going to EWC and getting the bag. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with any of that, right? The only thing that feels weird to me is how, once it happens, is how we then present it to the community, either in a cringy way or in a way of denial, where we just try to fool ourselves as, no, what it's gonna mean is that, no, we know what it means at the end of the day. I just think it feels weird. Anybody else with me? I think it feels weird that statement, the Saudi government owns EVO. It doesn't feel right. saying that, right? Could be nothing though. Could be just get better. We don't know. I mean, they can't. I mean, the day-to-day at EVO, I don't think it's gonna really change the rules, the welcoming. I don't really see any of that changing. It just feels weird, doesn't it? The way that it's going. And then it's gonna keep going that way. Does the bubble pop like Brian F does? Do we go back to the grassroots? Will we survive? I don't know. Is Sajam gonna go? He's still battling with that thought. I don't know if I go. I don't know if he said, even if I don't go, still gonna go on, like nobody's gonna give a shit because most of the people right now don't give a shit. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's getting deep and only gonna get deeper. How y'all feeling? Let me know. That was Butt Check fam. Definitely let me know how you're feeling. Appreciate the massive love. Like I said, links down below for all these videos. These videos are pretty long, so you guys can check them out in full for yourself. There's a lot, man. And it's, like I said, it's only gonna get deeper. If I'm guessing, I don't know if it's gonna pop because Saudi's like on anybody that or not like anybody we've seen before. Doesn't seem like they do run out of money. Now, will they run out of interest? Because we don't really see that they're gonna get that return on their investment because it's esports, you know? So, but do they care if you got endless money? I don't know. I don't know if there's a time limit on this thing, if they're gonna dip in 2027. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I do hope, and I would guess that if it does pop, we'll be okay. And somehow you'll see even more locals start to pop up, like, cause now we really have to rely on ourselves and keep this going. I don't know. We're in a weird ass time. So either way, thank you guys for enjoying or thank you for stopping by. I will see you soon. As always, I don't know what it is, but somehow, some way, it got to get better. Love y'all forever. Peace.
Blah, blah, blah. Subscribe.
And you signed a contract guaranteeing him certain concessions, one of them being a spot on the show.
Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but basically it's the nature of the beast.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.